So today we're going to jump on and have a little bit of a chat about our mirrors and how each of us are kind of a mirror and what reflections maybe we are putting out, but also kind of the reflection we're taking in from everyone around us as well. So I'm Andrea Gullick.
And I'm Barb Gibson, and we are here to let her be heard.
Yeah, and Barb's going to kick us off this morning and explain why she's sitting in a car. We kind of like to just roll with whatever's happening, right? So, Barb, tell us, before we get into our topic, tell us all about your little adventures.
Well, 2 weeks ago, we talked about living life, and we said that we were going to go out and live life. And I thought I'd be gone a week or so, and I'm still out living life. So, right now, I am in Jackson, Wyoming, in the US, which is where the Teton Mountains are. And I'm not at the mountains yet because there's no internet. I drove around town and I was telling Andrea I didn't think about how difficult it would be to find internet, a quiet place because this is a busy little resort town, and just all that's set up to do this. And then the guy just got done spraying way up in the high in the trees. I don't know if he's spraying insects or what, but I might have got sprayed. I don't know. The window's open. The cotton is flowing in from the trees. It's wild, but we're here talking
We're
about
here.
We're here.
Exactly. So, and fantastic. So let's talk about this. This was an amazing topic that you decided we could talk about, which is great. But it is all about the reflections, Barb, and like what is on the inside, does that reflect on the outside, and how does that impact the level of peace and happiness and joy that we experience? So what's your take on that? What's your experience with, like, the mirror and how you've seen it show up in your life or how you've seen it show up in other people's life? So you can kick us off today.
Okay, sure. What prompted me to suggest we talk about this today was I had sent a video to someone, and um,
Oh, we can't hear you.
I think I'm back. I was getting a
There,
phone call. I do.
oh, there you go. Oh my God. The universe or the voice of love or whatever is really taking it to you today, isn't it, Barb? Let's see how her mirror goes. Let's see if we can fog it up a little here.
Right. So, anyways, I sent someone a video, and I was just talking in the video, and they didn't get to see the background. But what she said was, the scenery looks beautiful. I can see it through your eyes. And in parentheses, she put your glasses. And she was seeing the reflection in my glasses. And it made me think about how so often I am always looking at reflections. I love reflections because there was a time in my life when I started thinking about my reflection. And if people have watched us for a while, they know that I'm really big on one thing is looking into the mirror and looking at your own reflection and asking, what does the voice of love want to say to me? What does your higher self, what is it? Andrea, I think you've done this before too. Is when you stand and look in the mirror. And when you first start doing that, it feels awkward, it feels funny, and you see the things that you think are wrong with you. But if you keep listening, keep looking and listening, all that'll quiet and you'll start hearing something about yourself, or there'll be something that's spoke to you. And when I say speak, that's not always an audible voice, although it could be, but it's like a knowing within you that it's like it doesn't come through your mind, it comes through your soul, your heart area. And so this reflection thing is, I started thinking about, what do I reflect? What do people see and feel and experience when they're with me, around me? And is what they experience what I am wanting them to experience? So, in other words, the question is, am I being who I want to be? Am I showing up how I want to show up? And so it was just an opportunity in my life to start observing that and seeing, am I being who I want to be? And so it's really fun when you do that and people reflect something to you and they say something, or you can tell by the way they feel, or you can just sense something and you're like, yes, I'm being who I want to be. And so this is a really cool thing for me. But I know you.
Because the thing with it is what I really sense really strongly there, Barb, is that like without even trying, we do, all of us have a level of influence. All of us have a level of influence.
Yes.
And we can make an impact without even trying. And we can make an impact even with trying. Obviously, we can definitely do that and be conscious of what we're doing. And when you were talking before about the reflection and that she could see the beautiful landscape through your eyes, I'm like, yeah, we can begin to see the world through different eyes based on how we are impacted by what is being mirrored or reflected to us.
Yeah.
And, as a mum, like as a wife, as a friend, as a teacher, as a mentor, or all of these areas where I do things in my life, it's the impact of who I be. And for each of us, the true impact comes from how we be in our own skin that can really create a ripple. And we get to choose that ripple in a way, because we're not just impacted by the beauty or the peace or the contentment, or we can be impacted and we can reflect out that, jealousy, resentment, anger, like, and it's that, yeah, who do we want to be? Like, what experience do we want people to have? And yeah, like, I think that's amazing.
And it's huge, Andrea, because whether we're aware of it or not, we are making an impact and people are experiencing us in a certain way. And the thing that switched for me was when I realized, when I'm conscious of it and aware of it, I get to choose what that is. Instead of just going through life and letting life happen, I feel like it's like I took my power back and I'm very aware of it and I'm conscious. And you hear both of us talk about, why do we do what we do, and knowing why we do what we do. And it's that awareness that has really changed my life into enjoying life so much more, being conscious, making decisions of how I want to be and how I want to impact. And I know you're kind of talking about the impact that we get from others, which is so true. What are they reflecting to us? And then I get to choose how I respond to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think that's another really important part, in the fact that we've spoken about this on numerous occasions, but when we're really conscious of who we want to be and the reflection that we're putting out there, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the experience people are going to have, because they're all coming from their own perspective, their own vision. But the thing with it is that doesn't change who we are. Like, that's been a really big defining moment for me, is that realistically it's being very conscious of who we want to be. And, having this, I really would love people to experience me in terms of, maybe being motivated or inspired or courageous or, adventure seeking, or that they can create whatever they want with their life. That is ideally what I would like. And maybe that I'm a little funny sometimes. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to experience that from me, even though that's what I want. And they're not going to experience it all the time, because there might be times where I'm tired and I'm a little, like, ask my children, they probably don't really experience that version of me. But being able to let go of there's a difference between, I think it comes back to maybe, Barb, the wanting and the needing. I don't know. I'll let you pick up on this in a minute, but that is how I would want people to experience me. The reality is not everybody is going to,
Right.
and I don't need them to. I don't need them to know who I am. And the more we come back to that of, yeah, go.
Well, I'm really glad you brought this up, because you're right. I did say that we can know how we are by how people respond to us. And to be honest, I don't really agree with that. I just contradicted myself. But
I like that. We're allowed to do that.
yeah, because it's a really big point, Andrea, and I'm glad you helped me clarify that, because it's always how we're feeling ourselves. And it's like, did I come across the way I wanted to? How they receive me, I have no control over. They might be having a bad day, and it doesn't matter what I say doesn't feel good to them. I don't know what's going on in their life that I could trigger them and not mean to. But do I show up? Even if I see somebody that I've triggered, I can go inside and go, was I showing up how I wanted to show up? Was I being real with who I want to be? Like, it sounds muddy, but it's very clear in some ways of like, when something happens, it's how do I respond to it? And am I being real with that? And so it's
And
really
sometimes
big.
we don't, Barb. Like, I don't know about you. Maybe you have complete control of every situation. I know that I'm still in the making of that. But, reality is sometimes we probably will respond to situations that doesn't feel true to the essence of who we are, because I don't know, maybe we're tired, maybe it's like the 10th time, I don't know, there's lots of different conditions where maybe that day our glasses are a little foggy, a little like, I'm confused, I'm frustrated, I don't know what to do. And so our response system is a little different. But the essence of who we are and the truth of who we are that is beneath that, it means that we can then, and it takes honesty. It takes real honesty to go, I was a narky cow. I can totally understand why they literally just are not happy about or not comfortable or whatever, because I don't know if that is how it's not set in concrete, is it, Barb? We are ever changing and evolving and growing and doing our best. Our best might look different tomorrow, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and I guess the point of this conversation for us today is just like, have you ever even thought about that you get to choose, and all of us, like that awareness of, oh, what am I reflecting? And is that what I really mean to reflect? It's, I just,
energy is a big thing. Like
mm,
energy, the way that we feel creates an energy.
yeah.
And it creates, and like we've said it before, that you can walk into a place and not know anybody and like be like, oh my goodness, and it won't take long, and you will feel whether this is a place that I'm good with, or oh, wowzers, there's something interesting going on here, because we can feel the reflection coming from people, environments. There's a heaviness, there's a lightness, and you can really feel that. And the more that you connect and tap into that reality, the more you recognize it in yourself.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if you're in an energy of the world sucks, nothing works out, the world's against me, this, I don't want this to be like this, why did they do that, why can't they understand, it's probably not going to create overly conducive conversations and experiences. It's just not. Because there's a resistance there, isn't there, coming from the reflection almost, that of, oh, I don't know if I want to be, stepping too close to that. And then,
Yeah. It's just, even today as I was driving, I would go by different bodies of water and the mountain is reflecting in it. And I was like, the reflection doesn't lie. The
Yes.
reflection is an exact mirror of what it's seeing. And I just think about it so much. So I know I go deep sometimes, Andrea. I know that you and I sometimes we go, oh, we just ponder these things, and that's what this our
Yeah, absolutely. It's just food for thought, isn't it? Like, people might be like, oh, they're two crazy ladies that have a bit of a chin wag on a Friday morning, and that's totally cool. We love that. But I watched the video, like I know the video that you're talking about where the comment was made, where you were driving and you could see the reflection of the landscape in your glasses. And it's really that, isn't it? As in, people are seeing the reflection of you all the time. Now you are looking out and at the world, and what you're seeing might not be the same as what's mirrored on your glasses because it's you. And I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense, but
no, I hear you. I was ready to push that because I'm following you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we all are like a set of mirrored glasses, and everybody is looking at the reflection of us all of the time. And that may not be what we're looking out at because we don't even realize that we've got those mirrored glasses on.
Yeah.
We just think we've got sunglasses on, protecting our eyes, when in fact the whole world is seeing a picture.
Yeah.
And what picture is it?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody joining us today? I can't see anything.
Yeah, we've had a couple. Here. Yeah, we've got a couple floating in and out. So
yeah, if you're with us, let us know who's with us, and do you have any thoughts about this reflection thing that we're talking about? I'd love to hear from somebody.
And when we were talking before about the impact, rightly or wrongly, or whether you're aware of it or not, it's come up a couple of times for me, so I really feel like I need to share it. But there's a beautiful photo of my first husband's grandfather and I, and we are dancing at one of my husband's auntie's birthday. And he has the biggest, seriously, the biggest smile, he's cackling his head off in the photo. I don't even know what we were doing, but we were having a great time. Now, talk about impact. Hello, Jill Berry is with us. Just so you know, Barb, she's saying that she is loving her Friday Inspiration Ladies. So that's lovely. So nice to have you, Jill.
We love having you join us too.
Yes, amazing. And Diane is with us as well. She says hello.
All right, Diane. Yeah. I think she might be back in Michigan.
She's off tripping about too, is she?
She was, yeah.
I love that. But yeah, this is a man who, honestly, Barb, I don't think I know anybody that had been through more trauma, crap, hardship, losing people than this man. And talk about being inspired by who he was. So the difference between Gordon and I, Gordon never spoke about, he never, ever, he was from that generation where you're staunch, you get on with it. You just do the thing that needs to be done because you can't change it. So he never really spoke about his experiences, whereas I'm quite the opposite. Most of my healing has come through speaking about it and wanting to obviously inspire people to know that it's okay to not be okay, really. Mm-hmm. But you could not find a more lover of life, staunch, loyal, vibrant. He would be always the last to leave the party. He never, ever, ever had a chip on his shoulder, or not that you knew, his reflection of what people experienced of that man was just, he was always so happy to see you. He was always just got to make life what it is. Family's the most important thing. We just get on and we just get it done. And I've just sat back and you were talking earlier about how you're living life, and part of my living life was to decide to book my own speaking engagement back in my hometown.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's
so, and it's just, it keeps coming up. There's photos of Gordon, there's other memories of Gordon right now. And I'm like, he has made such an impact on me and my life and so many other people's life. And he didn't do it with a spoken word. He just did it with who he was. And it's so powerful how people can impact us and how we can impact others, and just being aware of that. And that the most important thing, Barb, which is, you know, a point that you made, is that we get to change our mirror.
Yes.
Like, as in, well, you know, what people see of us, like we said before, you know, we are not in control of them, but check in. Just check in gently, not check in like, oh, I've stuffed it up, I've been a bad person, or, oh, you know, I was a bit too angry. Just check in, like, hey, is this the best version of me? Am I comfortable with this version of me? Am I okay with how this feels on the inside of me? Because that will ripple.
Yes. Am I comfortable with me? I love what you said. Oh, Diane Page is in North Carolina. She must be traveling.
Yeah. And what is it with you ladies over there just traveling? Love it. Oh, I can't wait to have you there, Jill. I am very excited. But anyway, yeah.
I love the story about he was your father-in-law.
Grandfather-in-law, yeah.
Oh, grandfather-in-law.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law, Fred's dad, was very like that too, Andrea. And it didn't mean there wasn't stuff going on in his life that was hard, was sad, you know, as long with all the good. But man, he just carried on, and he was happy, and he gave to anybody who needed anything. And he didn't hardly have, he didn't necessarily have extra to give, but he always gave. And he never went without, and people loved being around him. And so what I do know about him is that he was very happy and peaceful inside. And but you know, his outside circumstances weren't always, but people loved to be around him, and that was the reflection that he gave to others, but it was also a reflection of the peace within him, even when pain and circumstances weren't so the way he always wanted it to be.
And I think that is so key, Barb. Like, I that is something I really want to press pause on, is that it doesn't actually matter what is or isn't going on in our life, like what's coming together or not coming together.
No.
We have the ability to choose how we feel and how we show up, yes, regardless. Mm-hmm. That is the one thing we do have control over. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that there's not sadness present or resentment present. Like, all of those, our emotions are really, really important, but they really are like a GPS. Mm-hmm. They're like the sat nav of, okay, if you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling anger, you're feeling resentment, that's okay, but ask the question why. Because the question why is going to bring you back to peace, joy, happiness, opening up to the more. And I think it would be possibly hard, we would be hard pressed, Barb, if we asked a range of people, would you prefer to feel anger, resentment, frustration, or joy, peace, contentment? I don't know how many people would choose the other, if given that. Because it's just, I mean, it's so impactful for yourself, let alone what it does to the outside world. It doesn't, like, how it feels for us. And that is the thing. There are a lot of people where you can draw that inspiration from of, oh, not everything's coming together, and they're actually still really awesome people to be around.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that person themselves, like Andrea, that's a lot of my life now. It wasn't always, but it is. A lot of my life is pretty, everything's not the way I'd always like it to be. But man, I'm aware of the choice that I make of, like, I can, in a way, for me, and I'm not saying this about anybody else, but I can stay in a pity party of poor me. It's not going how I want it. It's not what I want it to be. Or I can accept that it's the way it is and find joy and gratitude in it. And when I choose to do that, I see totally different. I feel totally different, and my experience is different. And there's so much goodness right in front of us. There's so much beauty all around us. And when we focus the other way, it robs us of that stuff too. So not only are we already robbed by whatever isn't happening the way we want it to be, but then we allow it to go even farther by kind of having a pity party in it. That's what I'm going to call it for myself. And I use those words because when Fred died, I've told this story before. Some friends came to me who they mentored Fred and I. It was an older couple. They both lost their spouses and had, come together and married. And they said to me, when you're having a pity party, let us know and we'll come, but we don't stay very long. And I remember that. And what that spoke to me was it was my choice. Yeah. And what did I want to do? That didn't mean it was easy, but it's really quite simple.
And I love that. The thing that I love the most about that is, Barb, is that what I hear is that we are here for you. It is okay to experience pain, and we will be here for you. But we won't stay long, which means because they know that it's not in your best interest to be nurtured in that place for a long time.
They were me not to stay in that place very long too. Yeah.
But they also have I love that in the fact of that is them in terms of owning their self, their power of this is what we will. This is where our kind of, is it limits? That doesn't feel right. But as in they're taking ownership of this is what we know is best and how we best serve people. And we're okay if that doesn't match. Because I think sometimes it can be easy to believe that people don't care if they're not showing up in the way that we want. And it doesn't mean that at all. It literally means that we are all sovereign to ourselves and that we all have a conscious ability to know what we do and don't want for ourselves, even in the place of showing up for others. And that doesn't mean that we don't care. They loved you enough to want the best for you. Yeah. And in some ways, sometimes, maybe we can't see through those glasses like they can.
Yeah. And that's so true when you just think of it in a parent-child relationship. How many times have we told our children no to something that we know could be harmful or not for their best, and they just can't see it at all, and they think we're being mean or something, and it's like, no, you play in the road. There's a good chance you could get hit. They just can't see it like we can. Yeah. And that's for those people, since they had been down the journey before me, I knew that was a good word to hold on to and to remember and know that they knew what they were talking about. So,
and then it does, doesn't it? It comes back to the individual. Like we can have the most amazing support around us, but we can have people there loving on us so much, but essentially we have to choose. Like we have to choose, is this the way that I want to feel or is it not? Is this the way that I want my life to go or is it not? Yeah. And you're probably not going to have the answers in front of you. Most of the time when life is kind of not the way you want it, it's because you can't see the answers just yet.
Right.
Like, can we trust enough in who we are that it will work itself out one way or the other? And maybe working it out isn't the way we thought it would be. Like you've said, there's aspects of your life, there's aspects of my life. This is not how I thought it would be. And even now, like I'm not necessarily talking about losing our husbands, like our future path forward. there's still things where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure about this. I don't really know what to do with this. And I know the same for you.
Mm-hmm.
But can we still be true to ourselves in one way or another? The path will present itself.
Yes. I think just to recap this subject, Andrea, I think our point today was just to bring awareness to, we get to choose the reflection that we are.
Yeah.
And sometimes we've never even considered that we get to choose. And because we're reflecting something. And so what is it that we're reflecting? And is it what you want to reflect?
Mm. And not all the time, but a lot of the time. I don't want to say all of the time because I know there's people that will argue this point, and that's okay. But a lot of the time, what we put out is what we will get back.
Mm.
So if you're getting things showing up in your life that do not feel good and you do not understand why, the first place I would look would be inside.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not necessarily saying that what is coming back matches what you're putting out, but it may just well match a belief about yourself that you have not been aware of.
Yeah.
What you are willing to accept, what you deserve, sort of thing. That's what I mean by that.
Yeah, and I love that we're not saying that's the way it is all the time, because it's not always. I don't think it's always, but it's a good place to start, and it's not to should yourself or to condemn yourself or put yourself down in any way. It's just like, oh, if I just switch this little thing, maybe it could be different. Let me try.
Do you know what I absolutely believe it is? Like, in terms of you saying not shooting yourself and not, what I believe it is an opportunity to love harder on yourself.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Just love harder. You know? So I reckon that would be a perfect place to finish up this Friday. So maybe love ourselves a little harder if we feel we need to, and just observe what might be my reflection in the mirror based on how I feel right now. And am I cool with my mirror?
I like that.
Yeah. Am I cool with my mirror? Like,
joining, our might have been a little choppy today, but the cotton is just flying in this window.
It was really good. It was totally fine. It was perfect. It's always perfect. So we will catch you all next Friday. Goodness knows where Barbara Ann will be. She will be somewhere though. And I'm pretty sure I'll be here. So have a fabulous week, everybody. We love you all.
Love you.